what would you do in the following example? 90-year-old Ed Parkinson wants a glass of ice water with his meal, but his physician had ordered a change in his diet to purees and nectar-thick liquids. Ed hates the thickened water and frequently refuses his tray. Now he's losing weight and you've been asked to review his diet plan. So just because he hates his diet, is Mr. Parkinson a candidate for liberalizing his restrictions, or do regulations prevent it? The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services issued a final rule to improve care, safety, and consumer protections for long-term care facility residents, including ensuring that staff members have the right skill sets and competencies to provide person-centered care to residents.
I bet most of you can remember a time when you wanted to make a difference in a resident's life, but didn't have the tools to make it happen. Now, I'm not talking about needing a hammer to put a nail in the wall to hang a picture. I'm talking about having the documentation tools that give you the ability to learn what matters most to a person when it comes to food and drinks they truly want and desire, to give them up-to-date information on specific diet restrictions, and to develop individualized approaches that help manage and support their decisions even when those food choices are risky or outside the norm of the community. This presentation will teach you about the forms and tools you'll use to fully document the decision-making process for creating individualized dining care plans that keep a person as safe as possible while safeguarding your community against citations and litigation. To make this process flow in the direction of residents and their choices, you first need to get your attending physicians on board ahead of time. To that end, we provide a general letter from the medical director that puts the community's stamp of approval on honoring a resident's decisions about what, when, and where they want to eat, even when those choices may result in a person refusing a prescribed diet. The next thing we want to do is inform any new residents that everyone working in the community fully supports their right to choose the foods they enjoy, even risky ones. To do this, we have the Declaration of Dining Independence. This handout explains what each new resident can expect from the process of making an informed decision about the meals and snacks they prefer. After reading it, the person signs the document to show that they understand their right to make dietary decisions. Take a closer look at the forms that made that happen. The first form, Creating Care Plans Step by Step, contains the easy-to-follow instructions for individualizing diets as safely as possible. It details the process of using the proprietary documentation tool, Informed Choice Made Easy, and its accompanying information pieces to create a customized dining plan, one that honors what matters most to the individual while keeping him and her as safe as possible. This process is especially useful when obtaining informed consent from a person who chooses to refuse a physician's diet order. Now you need a document that covers the bases when it comes to documenting the dining choices of your residents. Using the Dining Preferences form, you can sit down with a person and find out the times that they are used to eating, the places they like to eat, what foods they want and don't want to eat, whether they want to explore liberalizing their diet, and much more. Now we come to the cornerstone of our documentation tools. Informed Choice Made Easy provides a detailed guide for creating a document that honors what matters most to a person while keeping them as safe as possible. Coupled with the risks and benefits of restricted diets and reinforced by our tip sheets, this tool prompts an in-depth discussion of the approaches for providing a self-directed plan of care that best serves everyone. It also fulfills the requirement that there be a discussion of a person's preferences, concerns, and questions about their diet. After all, how can a person make a true, informed decision unless you present all sides of the subject? And that brings us to our next documents. Off the top of your head, do you know all the up-to-date evidence about the risks and benefits of the most common food restrictions? I'm talking pureed and ground foods, thickened liquids diets, cardiac diets, diabetic diets, fluid-restricted diets, low-sodium diets, and tube feeding. And if you do know all that information, can you be sure that you remember it all when discussing it with a resident every time? Now you don't have to worry about it because all you have to do is customize the lists of risks, benefits, and options to the person you're talking to. The form provides plenty of space to record what matters most to the person, even if those choices are risky ones or considered outside the norm of the community. From here, the care team and the resident discuss the individualized approaches that address the person's dining preferences. Informed Choice Made Easy provides a list of common approaches to prompt this discussion, as well as leaving room for unique solutions. Finally, everybody signs and dates the form. Now you have a detailed guide for writing that person's plan of care that can be easily entered into your community's current database. This is where the QAPI process comes in to uncover gaps in performance, get to the root of the problem, and develop projects to close those gaps. Wouldn't it be great to have a detailed snapshot of your community's dining experience from the point of view of an objective observer? Using Assessing the Dining Experience, you can find out if your team is meeting expectations for a great dining experience for your residents. In every community, citations are a concern. That's why the dining checklist for federal regulations evaluates whether you are meeting the federal guidelines from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid for making a community's dining experience one that is safe and positive. Residents survey dining satisfaction gets the diner's take on their dining experience to find out if they're happy with their meals, and if not, uncover why they are not satisfied. The staff survey dining services as a data collection form that identifies gaps in performance from the point of view of the people working to provide the best dining experience for their diners. Once the problem is identified, people in the community can set up a learning circle to get to the root of the problem and start to develop PIPs to fix the issue. Using the QAPI process, these assessment forms can identify opportunities for improvement and get to the root of the problem, and then be used to monitor the results of the PIPs created to close the gaps. Person-directed dining can be risky business. If you don't have the documentation to show how and why a person made the choice to refuse their prescribed diet restrictions, you put your community at risk for citations and legal action. Being able to demonstrate that a person's choice was an informed one is critical to a successful transition from institutionalized dining to a person-directed approach. We hope you will take advantage of the documents provided in the Inside Scoop on Informed Choice to make it easier to fulfill the wishes of your residents while safeguarding your community from citations and legal action. So back to the original question. What would you do if a 90-year-old man with swallowing issues wanted a drink of ice water with his meal, even though it was against his diet restrictions? Can you, your care team, and the resident easily and consistently discuss the risks, benefits, and approaches of making an informed choice? Isn't it time for a change to make life in your community more like home for everyone living and working there?